On today's show, we have the latest surrounding Mavs head coach Jason Kidd, and Cooper Flagg is in Dallas today for his private workout with the Dallas Mavericks. All of the details on that coming up on today's show. But before we hop into today's show, I'm going to ask you guys to hit that subscribe button. We will be going live next Wednesday for the 2025 NBA Draft. So if you could just hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications so you know when we go live. We're going to have a party as Cooper Flagg is slated to become a Maverick. Is the flirting not over between the New York Knicks and Jason Kidd? Let's talk about it. Despite the Mavs not allowing the Knicks to interview Jason Kidd, they did deny the formal request for permission to interview. The Knicks' pursuit may not be over, according to multiple reports. And my initial reaction to this is, while it may be true that the Knicks are still pursuing him, it does feel like a leverage play from Jason Kidd and his agent to me. I think ultimately Jason Kidd wants to end up staying in Dallas for the long term. I think he wants to coach this iteration of the Mavericks with Kyrie Irving, Anthony Davis, and Cooper Flagg. He's talked a lot about the young man from Duke in interviews that he's done over the last month or so. And with the way that things ended last season with the Mavs, I could see why Kidd would be a little frustrated. And I could see why he'd want an extension from the Mavericks going forward. He does have 2 years left on his current contract. And I do think that if Kidd wants an extension, he can get one, and the Mavericks should give it to him. He's one of the higher paid coaches in the league at somewhere around $8 million. If Jason Kidd wants a 2-year, $20 million extension, just give it to him. Like I said, he's got 2 years left on his current contract, so maybe give him another 2-year extension or even a 1-year extension with a raise in the other 2 years. But Jason Kidd absolutely deserves more money, and I do think the way that he handled last season post-Luka trade was fantastic and was frankly one of the better coaching jobs in the NBA, the way he kept that Mavericks team together. And without his coaching acumen and without his calming presence in the locker room, I don't believe the Mavericks are even in the play-in at all. And who knows if the Mavs end up winning the lottery, and who knows if everything doesn't, the whole butterfly effect, if Jason Kidd's not there, are the Mavericks in the position they are now to select Cooper Flagg? I don't know if that's necessarily the case, and I know that's kind of a ridiculous thing to say and think about, considering the Mavericks, I think, could have been contenders in the Western Conference had they not made the Luka move. But we have to move on from that, and we have to look towards the future, which is going to be Kyrie, Anthony Davis, and Cooper Flagg, who we'll talk about here on the back end of today's show. So to me, this kind of does seem like a non-story, but who knows for sure? I do think that there's some truth to the fact that the Knicks would like to have Jason Kidd as their head coach next season, but I also think that there's truth to the fact that Kidd doesn't really want to go anywhere, and the Mavericks, I think, certainly don't want him to go anywhere, as outlined by Brian Windhorst of ESPN, who put this out there the other day where he said, I think the most important thing here is the message that the Mavericks sent here was that this was a no, a firm no. They're not interested in further negotiations at all. Don't even call back is the message they want out there. So the Mavericks clearly want Jason Kidd to be their head coach now and in the future. And I think Jason Kidd wants to be a Maverick going forward. So let me know down there in the comment section, will Jason Kidd sign an extension with the Dallas Mavericks? If you think he will, type Y for yes. If you think he will not, type N for no. I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say down there in the comment section. And another reminder to join us live for the 2025 NBA Draft when that man to my right, Cooper Flagg, becomes a Dallas Maverick. I can't wait for next Wednesday, man, to usher in the new era of Mavericks basketball. It's going to be absolutely fantastic, man. So join us, subscribe, turn on those notifications, and let's welcome Cooper Flagg to Dallas with a big old party next week. Speaking of Cooper Flagg, he is in Dallas today for his visit with the Mavericks. This is the only visit Cooper Flagg is taking during the 2025 NBA draft process, and this is the only visit that the Mavericks are hosting during the 2025 NBA draft process. So you can do the math on that one, but let's take a look at what Mike Curtis of the Dallas Morning News said here. He said the American Airlines Center and the team's practice facility are expected to be included in Flagg's itinerary, as well as a light workout and dinner with Mavericks general manager Nico Harrison and other team representatives. Flagg is also expected to meet with a handful of players to learn more about the team's culture. My question is this. Can we just skip the dinner, please? I don't want Cooper Flagg in the same room with Nico Harrison alone. That's the only way this thing could be messed up. Cooper Flagg might learn and might get into Nico Harrison's head and might be like, oh boy, is this an organization I really want to join? I'm obviously kind of saying that tongue-in-cheek there as well, but it does make me nervous that this is the guy that the Mavericks are leaning on to take them into the future. Not Cooper Flagg. I feel very confident about Flagg. I'm talking about Nico Harrison there. But there will be other Mavs executives there as well. So I just really hope that the Mavericks are able to make this a welcome home for Cooper Flagg and make him feel welcome because he officially will be a Maverick next week. And I don't think there's anything that's going to be stopping them from doing that. And speaking of Cooper Flagg and the Mavericks, the Mavs kind of had a snafu on their website last week where they more or less put the graphic on the website welcoming Cooper Flagg to Dallas. That's not exactly welcome here in NBA circles. And I know the Mavericks probably won't get fined for this for tampering or whatever, but you're not supposed to announce who you're selecting. This isn't like the NFL where you're technically on the clock and you are legally allowed to tell that person that you're going to be drafting them. The Mavs are obviously going to take Flagg, so I thought this was just a funny little thing to see surrounding Flagg and the Mavericks, which we all know is going to be the marriage that the Mavericks choose next Wednesday when they are officially on the clock with the first pick. It was a 1.8% chance to go get Cooper Flagg, and I am very excited, and this was the only choice, the second that the Mavericks won the 2025 NBA Draft Lottery on May 12th. It was only going to be Cooper Flagg. Like I said earlier, Flagg is the only player the Mavericks are working out, and the Mavericks are the only team he is visiting. Both of these parties are aligned on what's going to take place next week, and there is nothing to worry about here between Cooper Flagg and the Dallas Mavericks. The only thing to worry about is where he's going to play, how often he's going to play, and the role he's going to play for this Dallas Mavericks team here in his rookie year. Now, the Mavericks roster construction isn't complete yet. There are reports out there about Daniel Gafford and PJ Washington. The Mavericks really would like to keep most of those guys, if not all of them, according to multiple reports. And while we are just about 8 days away from the NBA draft taking place, this team certainly isn't complete, although Cooper Flagg definitely brings them closer to contending right away. This is one of the luckiest franchises in the NBA, man. You go from generational player in Dirk Nowitzki to generational player in Luka Doncic, and then you get the luck of the century in winning the NBA draft lottery for the right to select Cooper Flagg. Not all teams can say that they've had 3 straight generational players, man. So all in all, the Mavericks are a very lucky franchise, and that's something that you should not take with a grain of salt. You should be happy that the Mavericks have this sort of magic voodoo with the NBA or whatever it is. And even though the Mavs, for the first time in NBA history, moved up in the lottery for the first time in their franchise history since they were conceived in 1980, it kind of feels, deserved is the wrong word, it feels like the fans deserved this moment for the Mavs to take Cooper Flagg, because I'm not saying the executives or the people running the Mavericks deserved it, but the fans deserved it after it felt like the franchise was ripped away from us on February 1st. I do want to ask you guys this, though, because I was kind of thinking about this earlier. Derek Lively wears number 2, which is obviously what Cooper Flagg wore at Duke. Flagg wore 32 in high school. I think that's what Flagg is going to end up wearing for the Dallas Mavericks. The last person to wear 32 for the Mavs that I can remember is like OJ Mayo. I'm not sure if I'm sure there's been one more recent than that, but not one that I can think of off the top of my head. So what number will Cooper Flagg wear? Let me know down there in the comment section. And that will be it for today's show, guys. Appreciate you for tuning in to Mavericks Today by Chat Sports. Again, hit that subscribe button. Join us next week. We will be going live for the NBA draft. Can't wait to welcome Cooper Flagg to Dallas. And of course, if we hear anything about the Flagg workout in the coming days, we will let you know about that as well. And that's why you stay tuned right here on Mavericks Today.